Welcome back, everybody, to Crows of Judgment. And there's been a back and forth going on between Ethan Klein and Jordan Peterson after Ethan Klein chose to take down his interview with Jordan Peterson, stating that he is a dangerous gateway to alt-right, transphobia, and COVID misinformation, and that he's taken down both of his interviews with Jordan Peterson, saying that he didn't understand his views or some stupid shit like that. I want to be very clear. Ethan Klein is an absolute fucking liar. He knew exactly who Jordan Peterson was. He was just as controversial in the past when Ethan interviewed him as he is today. However, now Ethan Klein has changed who he is pandering to, so he has to take down the Jordan Peterson shit to appeal to his much more woke audience, right? We'll cheer him on, celebrate him, all the while he stirs up drama for clicks. Now, Jordan Peterson, for those of you who don't know, is a controversial figure. He is someone who believes in helping young men who he feels are misguided, and he does talk a lot about how young men are failing and how to help them not fail. His words seem to genuinely come from a place of compassion, not a place of hatred. But, of course, because he is speaking to young men, and young men are bad and evil, and because he has some very old school thoughts, he's seen as like a bigot and a sexist and a transmismphobe and shit, which is absurd and stupid. But this is how Jordan Peterson had responded. What are you up to, Ethan? We had a good conversation. I enjoyed meeting you and talking with you. What have I said precisely that motivate your actions and your accusations? Deleting our discussion, an honest question. Finally, you might seriously consider providing me with the footage so I can post it, given that I agreed to appear on your show based on the agreement that there would in fact be a show. Also, I should warn you that those who engage in cancel culture generally live to regret it. I'm not going to come after you except politely in this Twitter stream, but the chickens will definitely come home to roost. You'll be held to a higher and higher and soon impossible to maintain ethical standards by the very mob you currently wish to please. Then you will make a mistake and they'll devour you with glee. Please take this warning seriously. I liked you. Now, I thought that was a pretty funny response to Ethan. He came across as very, very nice. And he also made a very direct warning to Ethan that when you engage in cancel culture, one day cancel culture comes for you too. And I think that there are some very clear-cut examples of that. Now, this is the way Ethan responded to Jordan Peterson. He does bring up why he said all of those things. And we'll go through an explanation for each of the things that he brings up. But right over here, to start, you called a ban on conversion therapy moral grandstanding 6 days ago. And he did. Now, there are issues with that law. And I want to be clear, everything that I can see, conversion therapy, as it is known to most people, is already banned or was already banned throughout Canada. This was a national ban which contained much broader language. And PSA Sitch goes, the law is written in such a way that anything other than blind affirmation of a transgender identity can be criminal. Peterson talked with Ben Shapiro about how therapists should be trying to help patients understand themselves. This is true. This is very true. If you go in with your 5-year-old or 6-year-old son, right? And your son goes, I want to be a girl, right? And rather than the therapist actually talking to the child and figuring out, well, are they actually transgender? Or is this just a phase? Or is it something else going on? The therapist is required to treat them as a girl, period, nonstop. You can't question it. You can't talk to them about it. That is how it is in Canada right now. That is not helping people. And I don't think that promotes transphobia to say that. It's insane. What's going to actually make transphobia, or at least general dislike of trans people, more and more of a thing, is when people bring up shit like that. And Ethan Klein then goes, you're being transphobic. You're being a transphobe. When he does that shit, like, everyone's brain's just fucking off. You believe in enforced monogamy from New York Times interview. Now, look, this actually, when you read it, bro, it sounds like really fucking trippy. But two things. One, He's definitely coming from a place of empathy, not a place of hatred. He's not like, we need to like arrest women and force them to marry men. No, he's literally saying, you have a system right now where women are only going for the most successful men, but half the men fail. And when those half the men fail and they can't find partners, they become damaged. Now, he points to that as an explanation for the Toronto killer. That's his theory. I believe Jordan Peterson is like, I don't want to get this wrong. I believe he's a psychiatrist. So this would, to me, be his field of expertise. But it could just be a bad opinion. He is definitely not advocating that we need to force people into monogamous relationships. He's definitely not saying that. So it just seems to be his opinion as a psychiatrist, which seems to be more than fair to have when he's talking about a subject. Your mischaracterization of Bill C-16 resulted in a surge of transphobia. Again with this. The bill was created to add trans people as a protected group against hate crimes. Using the word pronoun would not result in anyone going to jail. In fact, to this day, 0 people have gone to jail. Using the wrong pronouns would need to be considered in totality with other actions for it to constitute a hate crime, basically like any other hate crime. Full stop. I don't know specifically what Jordan Peterson has said about it, but Bill C-16 does seem to be a terrible fucking bill. It seems to be... So, let me backtrack just to explain something that happened in Canada. Their courts have ruled that it is a human rights abuse to misgender someone. And the case was not one of a male to female transgender who was being dead named and referred to as a boy and a man and other offensive things to them, right? It was the case of a non-binary gender fluid individual who they used gendered language. And the gendered language was honey, sweetheart, not in a sexual way or anything like that. But I say that because there are older women at my job who refer to the employees that way too. But because that individual was referred to that way, they won a lawsuit because they said that they were being misgendered, and it became known as a human rights violation in Canada now. So when we go into what Bill C-16 does, essentially, let's say you mug somebody, and in the process of mugging them, you use something that can be interpreted as gendered language when they're a gender fluid, non-binary person. Now, Ethan can argue, well, it has to be a totality. That's actually not true. The prosecutor just needs to charge it and make a case for it. And they just need something to make that case. For instance, if if you're a white guy and you mug a black dude, and as you mug them, you scream the N-word, they could charge you with a hate crime, right? Same thing in this case when you misgender someone that you're mugging. I think it would be absurd to charge them with a hate crime because they accidentally misgendered someone, but again, it is definitely possible under Canadian law. So Ethan Klein is speaking to a man who is actually Canadian about Canadian law, and I'm not an expert in it. Ethan's definitely not an expert in anything. I think Jordan Peterson, who's like subject to these fucking things, probably knows more about it than a dumbass like Ethan fucking Klein does. But of course, it continues. As a person, I find you amicable and our conversation very interesting and insightful, but I am just not comfortable being part of a pipeline leading to takes like this. Okay, so first off, I am totally comfortable with anyone telling a politician up yours. Second, okay, this is about the vaccines. This is my statement on vaccines. It's a fucking choice. If you have the vaccine or if you don't have it, you can still transmit the virus, so it's a fucking choice. If it gets you sick, if it doesn't get you sick, I personally don't care. But it's not up to anybody else to protect a single individual if the virus can be transmitted regardless, right? Like, it's a personal choice. He's allowed to tell the fucking dumbass over here up yours. And if Ethan had a fucking spine, he would say that to other politicians like the old fuddy-duddy we have now. Scientists. So this is ridiculous. Robert Malone was on Joe Rogan's podcast, and now a bunch of health experts are saying that health expert was providing medical misinformation and must be taken down. This is another case of Ethan Klein just being a fucking idiot. the scientific method requires peer review. If there is a health expert, especially the guy who did come up with the process for mRNA vaccines, I'm not saying that he's the only person to speak on it, but he's definitely a health expert. If he's giving his opinion, that's fine. We hear the mainstream opinion all the fucking time. And the thing is, it's consistently fucking wrong, or it changes and it updates. And at this point, nobody really trusts the mainstream opinion on shit, because when they're wrong, they don't allow people to speak about it until eventually they have to fucking correct the record. This is just dumb. This is just dumb. Joe Rogan had Sanjay Gupta on, and then he had Robert Malone on. He has plenty of health experts on. If you have a health expert on, he's giving a different opinion. What's wrong with that? When you go see a doctor, you get a second opinion. That's very basic shit. What the fuck? What? You're supposed to take different opinions so we can figure out what's actually true. God damn it. All right. So those were Ethan's responses. Jordan responded by saying nothing and linking the post-millennial article, which is weak shit, but at the same time, Ethan Klein spent a pretty long time with people actually telling him he was wrong consistently, and of course he's just going to ignore it anyways. It doesn't mean that Jordan Peterson, who did ask Ethan to explain what he took issues with, to then not reply to him at all. And of course, Ethan Klein does hit back at him for that. This is my problem, Jordan. You asked for specific reasons. I provided them. Instead of acknowledging my response, you retract further into your bubble of flatterers and devotees, talking of how you schooled me on cancel culture. You didn't school me, Jordan. Your room is as messy as your mind. And of course, it continued. Well, he showed a photo of his room. It is messy, Jordan. And Jordan, regarding cancel culture, the only thing that has ever guided me is my own moral compass. Okay, dude, I'm sorry, man. You guys, your own moral compass. Dude, you, this is the motherfucker who, straight up gutted Tron in the back and then in the front, just constantly shitting him. Fuck you, Ethan. I was gonna play the video of the fucking scientist because it's actually ridiculous, but it's 2 minutes long. It's just too long. Now, Jordan Peterson's daughter just tweeted out a photo of the statement and said, "Thank goodness Ethan is out here saving the world from dangerous people." And this is his daughter. I don't think that she was being a prick to Ethan. She didn't show the diaper picture of Ethan or anything like that. But Ethan responds with, "How is fleecing your father's fandom going? $100 per month for the Lion Club? Teaching people that eating only meat cures all ailments? Must have been nice to be posting cute selfies from your father's social media accounts while he nearly died!" Holy shit, Ethan, dude, fucking chill, man. He's looking to fucking fight with people. But I saw this, I was like, dude, you literally insulted her father, and she's being very tongue-in-cheek about the entire thing. And you turn around, and then you go straight and punch her in the face, too. This doesn't look good to me. But I know Ethan's audience of fucking children who literally hate these people are probably jerking off to this entire interaction. Now, this surprised me. Hassan, of all people. I think it would be very productive to have a conversation with Ethan and myself on our show Leftovers. You could clarify your stances, Jordan. Now, look, I think it's a dumb thing because, as Dior put here, Hassan is going to set up a 2v1 with Ethan Klein to own Jordan Peterson and still need to bring in Sam Cedar so there's at least one person in the call who understands actual politics. That's probably what would happen. That's definitely what would happen. Now, I wanted to end this because Ethan Klein's such a piece of shit. I was debating whether or not to include this at the end, but fuck you, Ethan. We're gonna fucking do it.
I have mental illness problems too. That never she doesn't seem to really give any credence to that. I have depression. I'm medicated for that shit. 20 milligrams Lexapro every fucking day. My dick feels like a piece of wood. I have no sensation in my penis. Side effect. And I'm fat, by the way. Also a side effect.
Fizzy water.
You know, I have Tourette's, by the way, something that she continues to tokenize, which always makes me uncomfortable. I always